Welcome to the early days with Prowse Chowne. My name is Jackie Rae Greening, and what this show is all about is business owners, entrepreneurs. Are you starting out or are you in business? Do you ever reflect back and go, dang, I wish I had known that before I started business? Well, this show may help you out. So thank you for joining us. And I want to introduce you to my guest for this next few minutes, Matt McTurk, the owner of Grizzly Inspections. Welcome, Matt.
Well, hello, how are you?
Very good. I said to you before we got going, I said, okay, we're going to start off by finding out about little Matt. And I go, I haven't thought about little Matt in a long time.
Yeah. I'd have to look at some old pictures just to remember what happened.
Where were you born?
I was born here in Edmonton. Lived in Edmonton for the first 4 or 5 years. Then I moved to Sherwood Park, kind of the outskirts of Edmonton there, paying the taxes in Sherwood Park instead of Edmonton now. And that's kind of where I got everything all started, and kind of my home where we lived for, 20 years was Sherwood Park, and I kind of just stuck with that. So.
Were you into sports growing up? Or?
Yeah, I did a little bit of soccer. Wasn't very good at it, but I did a lot of soccer. That was pretty much all my parents would let me do. They didn't like the whole hockey and spending money on that. So soccer was my thing, and I thought, maybe one day I might be able to make it to the big leagues, but unfortunately that didn't work out. So
No, it's funny. I have a radio background, and you kind of said that maybe radio TV was something might have cranked your tractor.
It was at one point. It was something that I was thinking about when I was in high school, and then I went to Nate's open house, went to the booth for the radio and television people, and they kind of said, you need to have these kind of grades in school, and I didn't really have those grades in school, so.
I didn't either, thank goodness.
So maybe I could have kept pursuing it, but I didn't. I was like, okay, well, you know what? Someone told me, you need to have really good English. And I obviously speak English, but when it comes to language arts, just not the best. So I figured maybe I should focus on what I'm good at, which was more the sciences and kind of the physics and that kind of stuff.
But what's your parents' background? What did your mom and dad do?
My dad was an accountant, and he always told us at the dinner table, never become an accountant. It was really boring, and you'll hate your life. So I was like, okay, and which I was good at numbers. And so I always thought, and when I was in school, I loved the accounting courses in high school. I thought maybe I should become an accountant. But remember those times at dinner where I was like, you know what, this is not what my dad wants for me. So I never did
great.
that. Yeah,
that's because so now you know that the sciences is kind of the way your brain works. So what did you take at Nate?
So I took mechanical engineering technology. So it's a 2-year program, similar to like what U of A has for engineering, but just a 2-year version of it. And so I took that, loved it. I loved it. I always say to people, I didn't enjoy kindergarten to grade 12. It just didn't really jive with me. But as soon as I got to Nate, it was like, oh man, it just clicked. It was like, I waited 12 years of my life to get to this point, and I loved it.
Okay. Yeah. What is it? The numbers, or what is it that makes you so fascinated?
Yeah, it's the numbers. It's the hands-on. It's the problem solving. It's the ability to, you get a problem. It's like, how do we fix this? And you go through the process, and then at Nate, you would actually machine the component to fix it or whatever. And so you kind of got this full, start to finish experience, and just, problem solving. It's what I love. So.
What was your first paid job?
My first paid job, painting fences. I was painting a fence for this older gentleman. He was looking to sell his house. He had a pool and everything. So I was the pool boy. I was the painter. I was the guy chipping tile off the floor. Kind of just everything that he didn't want to do, I was doing. So that's kind of got me into the whole using your hands and kind of getting that experience. And it was a good experience. I was only 13 at the time, and it kind of catapulted me into kind of more hands-on type stuff.
Yeah. So now after you graduate from Nate, then what's your first job?
Well, I tried to, Nate was a mechanical engineering course, and I really wanted to do something with an engineering firm. There's a lot of jobs out there that were kind of tech sales, that kind of thing. I didn't really feel like I was a salesman, so I really tried to focus on kind of consulting engineering firms. And when I did it, when I finished Nate, it was 2008. Kind of the economy wasn't the greatest, and so there wasn't very many options out there. And so I opened up the old Yellow Pages book, and I flipped to mechanical engineering firms, and I literally just started emailing anyone that had a website. Anyone that had an email on their website, I just emailed, hey, I'm looking for a job, and probably sent out 30 30 emails, and only 2 people came back. And one said, no, we're not hiring, and the other one said, yeah, we're hiring. And I said, okay, well, I'll come in for an interview and find out. And that's how I learned about this thing called crane inspections. So,
okay,
yeah.
and you said when you went in, many people are after me. Not you. You weren't the only one that responded.
Yeah, of course. Like they were lucky to have me, right?
So this is fascinating. So you go to this firm, and then so you find out about crane inspection.
Yeah.
Because for me, when I was thinking, what the heck is Grizzly Inspection? And I do my research. I go, there's people that do that.
That's right.
Is that what you thought?
I thought the same thing.
Okay.
I was like, so. I never even thought of this as being an industry, inspecting a crane. What does that even mean, So one of the things that we have here in Canada is the OH&S requirements state that a crane needs to be inspected by an engineer or an engineering group every year. And so that's kind of where that all fits in, is kind of this whole idea of OH&S wants these cranes to be safe structurally, and there's companies like us that exist to do that. So.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah.
So your first day on the job, what did you do?
Right, my first day of the job, I was just trying to figure out what the heck I'm here for. And then,
why did you hire me?
Yeah. What is a crane? No. But no, my first day on the job, they just kind of showed me everything, kind of took me out on a couple jobs showing me what crane inspection is. And then I kind of spent more of my time at the beginning there working in the engineering side of things. So doing designs, doing the problem solving, clients would come in saying, hey, we got this problem, we can't, how do we do this? And we would spend time trying to design something that would fix their solution, or fix it to create a solution. So, yeah.
Okay. So with this particular firm, did they have how many crane inspectors?
Oh, at that time we had probably 6 or 7 crane inspectors, and then I was more, like I was saying, more on the engineering side of the team, and I think we only had 3 of us at that time. So it was very small company, and I got to experience everything from like the smallest little thing to the biggest thing because we were so small.
But what a great way to start.
Totally, yeah.
Because you want to learn everything about the business, and you know your backup is not going to be an accountant.
That's right, yeah.
Because your dad said.
My dad would be very mad at me. So
what, as you're just starting out in business, so how long, this was 2008?
That was, 2008. Yeah,
okay.
That's when I first got out and started working for that company.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And how long were you with them?
I was with them for 6-7 years. And then I was kind of at my peak. When I started there was only 3 of us, right, in the engineering side. And by the time I finished, there's maybe 5 or 6, and I kind of at the top of the crew. And so it was like, well, where do I go from here, right? That kind of hit the ceiling. And so I kind of got on LinkedIn, and I wasn't really into LinkedIn at that point, but I put my stuff out there, and someone just happened to post up saying, we're an engineering firm, and we're looking to get into the crane inspection world. I know that. I know crane inspections. Like, that's what I did. And so I went out and reached out to them, and they said, yeah, we're looking, we're a small engineering firm. It's exactly what I kind of dealt with before. Small engineering firm looking to expand into cranes. And so I said, yeah, let's team up. Let's make this work. And kind of started something from zero. So now you're the leader. That's right. Now it was kind of my opportunity. I loved business. I loved making or hearing our owner from the previous company make those business decisions. Because my office was right across from the owner's office. So I got this experience of, kind of hearing what he was talking to other people. I was like, man, that really intrigues me. I love those kind of decisions as well. And so this was an opportunity to do something without my own money. So it was like, all right, here's an opportunity to start something from zero. And, someone else is footing the bill. Here's my chance. Here's my chance to see what happens, right? And and that's what I did.
So was that just you at that firm in that position?
Yeah, in Edmonton.
Okay.
So it was just me in Edmonton starting the crane inspection company and just knocking on doors and now doing sales. And it was interesting, a good experience.
Okay, so now you've evolved just from the mechanical engine part of it. Now you've gone into sales.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. So now, so you're knocking on doors saying, "Hey,
that's right.
You want to come to us to inspect?"
That's right. Yeah. So instead of using whoever they're currently using, why not try us out? A new company. It was definitely a struggle. I wouldn't call myself a great salesman, but I can hand a business card out. and I can smile. So I guess what else do you need, right?
And you wanted to get into radio, so you have the voice. So you're good.
Yeah.
So it's just another thing in your portfolio, your experience portfolio, as in everything you need in the business world, right?
Right. So I was just slowly adding all these different skills to the point where I kind of had all the different types of skills you would need to kind of be on your own. And so I'd experienced the sales side, I'd experienced the inspecting side, the engineering side, the administrative side. At that time, because we were such a small company with this new one, I was doing all the invoicing as well. So I was doing all the invoicing, so I'm doing all the administrative stuff and the inspecting and the sales. So I was like, maybe it's time to just do this on my own.
Okay, because that was going to be my next question.
Right.
There had to be something in the back of your head going, hey, why isn't this my own company?
That's right, yeah. So I kind of, once again, I hit the ceiling. It was the owner and I we were in good terms and everything, and I just thought, you know what, what's my next step? And I thought, well, maybe it's time to go out on my own. So I actually called the owner of the company I was working for, and I said, hey, would you be up for me buying the assets from the company? Thought about it for a little bit, and then he called me back and said, yeah, let's do it. You can have the Edmonton operations. So we agreed on the terms and all that. So I bought the assets from the company, and that way it kind of just rolled over. So I got the phone number, so I got all the stuff that is really critical to keeping these clients rolling, right? So that no one even really knew, because they're still calling the same number. The email address forwarded to my email address. So it was just a perfect opportunity that I just could not pass up.
Yeah, and you're not starting from scratch then with your new company.
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty huge.
Yeah.
And for those watching, they're the business people and they're entrepreneurs, and that's when you're starting a business. Was the name the same?
No, so I had to change the name because they were still existing as an engineering firm.
Got it.
And so they didn't want to muddy the waters with that, so they just were like, hey, change the name. I was like, yeah, no problem.
So you come up with Grizzly Inspections. I see right on the shirt.
That's right.
You can turn to the camera.
Yeah.
You got to get the logo here.
No.
It's a great logo. I love the logo.
Yeah.
So talk about that first of all, because when you're starting a new business, it's that's number one. You need a logo, right?
That's right. Well,
name
you need a
and
name.
A logo.
Yeah, and let's just say maybe this is why I never did radio and television, because my English and my language arts was not the greatest. I'm not creative enough to really come up with a good one. So I had pages and pages of names written down as I was driving around. I was trying to come up with something, and nothing was really clicking for me. And I went to my parents one day. I'm like, I can't do this. I can't come up with a good name. And I love hiking. I love going to the mountains and experiencing what the mountains have to offer. And one thing that I've always wanted to see is a grizzly bear. Now, in a far distance, obviously.
Good call.
Yeah. I don't want to be close to a grizzly bear, but I've actually never seen one outside of captivity. And so I was like, I'm fascinated with this animal. And my dad suggested, well, why don't you do grizzly bears? You love grizzly bears. You love hiking. Grizzly inspection. Okay, yeah, that works better than what I had. So I was like, all right, done deal. So I did that. We came up with a name, and then it was time to come up with a logo. So I found this software online that I can't remember how much I paid, a couple $100, and it would essentially create a job posting for all these artists to come out and create a logo. And so I kind of gave them some narrative of like what I'm expecting, and then I got probably 200 different designs, and then I could pick from there my logo. And so I just scrolled through and finally found one that seemed good. I got them to tweak it a little bit, and here we are.
And there it is, Grizzly Inspections. So obviously now it's a limited company. So now you got I'm sure you did a search for the name and everything. So what's the next step?
Well, yeah, and I didn't even do the search. I did it with Prowse Chowne, did all that stuff for me. So I called up the team there and I said, hey, let's go through. Can we use this name? Is this name usable? And so Amber there kind of went through everything and checked it out and said, yeah, this name's good to go. Which I was surprised, to be honest.
I am too.
Yeah, it's a common name. We didn't come up with something fancy. It wasn't anything crazy. It was just an animal name. Like how many people probably already use animal names, right? So we got lucky in that case. Yeah.
So you've got the logo. You've got the company name.
Right.
Yeah. And now what's the next step?
Next step is what was the next step? It was getting a vehicle, because the vehicle that I currently had wasn't capable of doing the job. So buying a vehicle, which of course, as everyone knows from last year, the cost of vehicles were not super cheap. So that was a bit of a hit right off the bat. It was like, okay, owning a business isn't cheap, But so that was the first thing, getting the equipment and the tools all ready. Obviously, from my purchase of the company, I already had most of the tools. So I just needed to add some small things here and there.
Okay, so this was just in the past year that you did this. You made the big move.
Was 13 months ago.
13 months.
Yeah.
So so you're a baby grizzly.
Yeah, I'm a baby grizzly. Yeah, very. Yeah.
So is it a one-man show right now, or?
No, there's two of us right now. I would say 2.5. So I've got an inspector that also works for me now. He's been with us for 2 months now, and then I actually have because there's accounting involved. My dad being an accountant, a retired accountant, so he's the 0.5. So he is doing a lot of my paperwork for me and helping me out with the administrative side of things, so the accounting things.
So what is your ultimate goal down the road then for Grizzly Inspections?
Yeah, the ultimate goal would be to continually grow it and become an expert in the field in just kind of everyone expects, what is Grizzly talking about? Because we put a lot on LinkedIn. We're trying to push a lot of kind of info to people. But my goal for the company is just to grow it to a reasonable size, get it to a point where we can hire a lot of people, help out the community, and just maybe one day sell it. So
yeah. So and I think for you, that I love what you just said about being involved in the community too. Mm-hmm. What do you do for the community?
Well, right now, it's not through Grizzly, but we just on my own terms. My lady and I, so we have a camper van. So we built our own camper van because we love the mountains, right? So we do a lot of hiking, and hotels aren't cheap in Banff or Jasper. So camper vans are a lot better, So camping is cheaper, right? So we have a camper van. Well, we don't use it every weekend, right? So we came up with this idea of taking coffee. So we make coffee at home, and we feed the homeless. And so we've got we actually just bought last week a large coffee maker because we started off with doing, I don't know, maybe 20 cups of coffee. Like, let's just see how this goes. And then it turned into a long line. We had a line up around the corner of the Bissell Center. So it's like, okay, all right, well, we better upgrade this setup. So we ended up buying, I think we had 3 coffee machines from Canadian Tire just going nonstop, just pouring it into an insulated cup. And then that got too much. So now we just recently, just this week, bought a proper, like, commercial grade 100-cup machine so that we can finally do proper setups, because a lot of people were getting disappointed. We would run out of coffee before the lineup was done. So that's kind of our main community thing that we're doing, is just helping out the homeless, especially in the winter. When it's cold out, who doesn't want a hot coffee, right?
Oh yeah, and so now that you have this commercial grade coffee, when you go to the mountains to camp, you can do the whole campsite.
That's right. Everyone, come on.
So now that you're settling in, you're 13 months into the business,
yes.
You have a little chance to look back. Is there something that you said that you go, I wish I'd done that a little different?
Lots of things. It's a constant thing of learning and making mistakes, but it's the mistakes you make you stronger, right? And so there's a lot of times where I thought, let's purchase this item, and then because a client says, hey, we got a lot of work for you, you need to use this piece of equipment to do it. Okay, well, purchase the piece of equipment. And then they end up not getting, the work, or, it's not as much work. And then you realize, oh, wait, I could have just rented the piece of equipment instead of buying it. So little things like that, it hasn't hurt us financially too bad. But it's learning things, right? And so constantly learning every month, making mistakes, but it's okay. It's going to happen.
With it being a two-man show, do you find you have enough time to get the sales and also go out and crane inspection? It's got to be difficult.
It's very difficult. That's why I hired the second guy, and so that's why we're training our teammate there to get to the point where he can be on his own, so that we can do more sales. Because I actually haven't dropped off a business card in 8 months because we've just been so busy. So when you're working, you're billing out 40 hours a week, and your clients are only open for 40 hours a week. You really don't have any opportunity to really push the boundaries in sales and get more work. Mm-hmm. So yeah, the second guy, that's kind of the goal with that is allow me to have more time to do sales so that we can then get a third, fourth, fifth guy.
So you walk up to a crane. What I would do is I'd walk up to a crane. I go, yeah, it looks good to me.
Yeah.
What do you do to inspect a crane?
Right. Well, so what we're looking at is we're looking at the structural side of the crane. So we're making sure there's no weld cracks in it. Now, thankfully, most of the time when you hear of crane collapses and crane injuries and stuff, it doesn't have to do with the structural side of things, but you can at least be assured that here in Alberta, we make sure the cranes don't have any cracks. But yeah, so we're looking to make sure there's no cracks in the crane, making sure there's no dents in the boom, making sure that it's safe for everyone around it, including the operator and including us, because we're around it as well. So,
oh yeah, and what kind of tools would you be taking to it?
Yeah, it's not a lot of tools. We're cleaning the crane off, so we need to clean the grease off. So we're using brake clean and rags and that kind of thing. And then for finding cracks, we use something called a magnetic yoke. It's called a AC yoke, is what they call it. And so it uses magnetism to generate a magnetic field around the weld, and then we throw some magnetic powder on it, so just metal filings, and a crack would show up if there was a crack. So it's a really unique, very basic thing, but yeah, not many people know what that is, right? So
no, when I hear yoke, I don't think that.
Right. So I mean, most people didn't even know that crane inspections existed, right?
Oh, so. Yeah. Well, and then how often are cranes? Do you have to be a law?
So by law, it's every year.
Every year.
Every year, a crane that you see driving down the road, or a crane up on a tower crane downtown, they'll be inspected annually to make sure that they're safe for everyone.
Okay, if the annual inspection and it's up there, do you have to go up there?
Yeah, so we have to climb up to the top. So you can't be afraid of heights in our job. It's a good view. It's a good view.
I'm not joining Grizzly Inspections.
Okay,
well,
well, you should. You know what? It is a little nerve-wracking climbing it, but as time goes on, you kind of warm up to it. Like I'm definitely not a guy that's looking for that kind of thrill. It's just part of my job, and so for me, I get nervous. Like I'm definitely not the one just going, let's just go, let's climb. I'm nervous as well. I'm shaking in my boots, but just got to make sure we do a good job and get to see a good view. Like, where else can you get a good view like at the top of a tower crane?
I love that.
Yeah.
So you've been in the business 15 years.
Yeah.
And started off as an employee, learned the ropes, learned everything. Now that you're in your business on your own, what is the most important piece of advice you would give to somebody that was just starting a business?
That's a good question.
I'm full of those.
You have a lot of those. Yeah.
Thank you for recognizing that.
I hope they pay you really well, right?
Yeah. I'm getting paid.
I would say, to be honest, like it's to just start and to make those mistakes. And it's okay to make mistakes. It doesn't have to be perfect. That's one thing that I think a lot of the reasons why I never did do my own thing at the beginning was because I was afraid of making mistakes. And then finally, when that opportunity came, or it's like I've hit the ceiling, what do I do next? I had to come to a conclusion that it's okay to make a mistake here. Like if this doesn't work out, it's not the end of the world. Thankfully, it has worked out so far, but constantly just taking the negative with the positive and learning from those mistakes. I think that's one of the greatest things you can do is just accept failure sometimes and move on, right?
And I think you did it right in that you learned it, and then you knew you'd hit the ceiling, so then you moved on and learned more, and then you hit the ceiling. Then you knew, okay, now it's time.
Yeah, I agree. Like it's, I don't think jumping right away would have been a good thing for me, but I learned as much as I could about the industry, and that's one thing that if someone's working for someone, learn the in and outs of the business side of it. Don't just be an employee working in the back shop. Learn, ask those questions. Because I always did. I always asked the question, well, why did we do that? Why didn't we do it this way? Like, because if we did it that way, financially it wouldn't work out. Like, okay, I never thought about that.
Be curious.
Yeah, be curious. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Because you're probably still learning today.
100%. Yeah. I'm every day I'm learning. Yeah. I learned earlier this morning. I learn every day, right? So, and it's taking those learnings and making sure that I apply them to my job. Not just learning them and going, okay, well, whatever, but actually going, okay, what can I do better because of what I just learned today?
Wow. Did you learn that from your parents or from Nate, or has it always just been that instinctive thing for you?
I think I would say my parents, always to be curious. I was the curious kid. I was the middle child. So, and then my brother, who's older than me, he was the first child, of course, right?
The golden child.
The golden child,
oh,
right?
Yeah, we've got one of those.
And then, totally. And then the younger one happens to be the only girl. So, of course, my mom gravitates towards the... Sorry,
She's
Mom,
perfect.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mom.
So I'm the middle one, sitting in the middle going, well, I need to be more curious. I need to push the envelope a little bit. So... to get the attention, right? Isn't that how every middle child does it?
I think so. Well, I can't thank you enough for spending the time with us today. And my last question is, have you ever seen a grizzly?
In captivity.
Yeah, still only in captivity. So you're still searching for your grizzly sighting.
I'm still searching. I'm going this weekend. I'll let you know.
Okay, deal. Love it. Matt McTurk from Grizzly Inspections. Thank you so much. This has been great getting to know you.
I appreciate it. Thanks.
A big thank you to our sponsor, Prowse Chowne, for making the early days possible. And make sure you tell your friends about us. Wherever you get your podcast, download it, because we've got some amazing guests coming up over the next few months. As for Matt McTurk from Grizzly Inspections, I did ask him what was the highest building he had ever been on inspecting a crane. It was the Stantec Tower. So imagine a crane on top of the Stantec Tower in Edmonton. That's crazy. Thanks for joining us for the early days. I'm Jackie Rae Greening.
This series is proudly produced by the team at Road 55. Road 55 creates content that connects. For more information, check our website, www.road55.ca.